365 Days of Sport.
Yes, good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Sport radio show. I got told this week this is the greatest radio sport show on the planet. And to my right, the one and only Robert Bryce.
Did they honestly go straight for the greatest?
Yeah.
That was actually their...
Straight in. Bang.
That's not what you wrote on the blurb to introduce people to the show? Is that...
Doesn't matter who wrote it. No.
Is it sounding better this week that we've actually got the microphones recording?
I hope so, because that's 10 hours of my life I'm not getting back.
Yeah, well, good luck to you. I appreciate your efforts.
Thanks.
And I can only apologise for my lack of efficiency as a sound engineer and a producer, which came about predominantly because I'm not a sound engineer or a producer. I've gotten that role by default.
Yes.
So you had it coming.
So you do the producing, I just do the editing.
You do well, that's what we're going, until I finish the pilot, and then I'll take over.
Nice. Hurry up with the pilot.
Creative direction.
So, this week in sport, the world has gone mad.
Has it? Just
really
now?
Has
I
gone
think it's
mad.
Been mad for a while.
Well, it has.
What's tipped you over the edge?
Basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay,
The
Shaquille.
7'1" monster.
He's a big man. He is a big man. My friend bumped into him in the West Indies somewhere. He saw a very large man down in the ocean, and he wandered down and it was Shaquille O'Neal, and he hung out with him for the day.
Really?
Pretended he didn't know who he was, just so he didn't look like a twat,
Obviously. Now, he's claiming the world is flat.
Okay.
The Earth is flat.
We're going back in time.
I just don't know what to say about this, but it seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute, so just play the interview, Rob.
Is he serious
That's
about
the one you got to live with.
This is true.
Some people like it, some people don't, but, we'll see where it takes us.
What did you make of the Kyrie stuff?
I don't... It's true. The
What?
The Earth is flat.
Shaq, what are you talking about?
The Earth is flat.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
He's genuine.
No, it's
he is
not.
genuine.
What's his explanation here?
Listen,
It's not.
There's 3 ways to manipulate the mind. What you read, what you see, and what you hear.
Conspiracies.
In school, first thing they teach us is, Columbus discovered America. But when he got there, it was some fair-skinned people with the long hair smoking out of peace pipes. So what does that tell you? Columbus didn't discover America.
He found where some other people already lived.
I drive from coast to coast, and this flat to me. I'm just saying.
Okay, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said.
I drive from
It's the dumbest thing you've ever said.
It is the dumbest thing.
Florida to California all the time, and it's flat.
92 podcasts, and that's the dumbest thing you've ever said. That's a high bar to get over.
I do not go up and down in a 360-degree angle and all that stuff about gravity.
Yep.
Have you looked outside of Atlanta lately and seen all these buildings? So you mean to tell me that China is under us? China is under us.
If you keep they are under us. That's what they tell you when you're a kid.
The world is
If
flat.
you dug straight through your backyard, you could get to China.
No, you can't. The world,
is not flat.
Yes, it is.
We've seen the Earth.
No, we haven't seen anything.
Yes, you have. You've seen it from satellite imagery.
Oh, satellite imagery that could be drawn and made up.
There is another bit where Shaq goes on to say, I live in Florida and I've driven to New York and it's flat. I drove from New York to Seattle and it's flat. I drove from Seattle to Los Angeles and it's flat. And I drove back to Florida and that's flat. So in his mind,
that's all. That's proof.
That's it. Proof.
Yeah. He may as. Oh my dear, oh dear. We've gone well back, and this is centuries ago. This was proven.
I know, but he's referring back to Kyrie Irving, who is the Australian-born NBA superstar, who also thinks the world is flat.
Oh, so it's a sort of a basketball get-together from across the world. Did he talk to him from the other side of the world, or is it on the plateau as well?
Underneath, yeah.
My word. I assume he's got to be blazing Christian too. He's got to be, I guarantee.
Well, possibly.
With that sort of thinking.
And
my God.
Former WWE wrestling star AJ Styles has chimed in saying the theory shouldn't be discounted. He says, I'm not a flat earther. I'm just saying there is some stuff about it that makes sense. I don't think you can handle it.
Well, God, this is almost like, you can't handle the truth, like he's Jack Nicholson or something.
Yeah, basically.
What's going on there? Well, that's, I have nothing much to say to that. Said both those people, I've got no time for them ever again. They've gone well done in my book.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Shaquille. I appreciate your input on sending our people backward a long, long way. Yeah.
Just
really
clueless.
helping out there a lot.
Mm-hmm. You can have those beliefs, but just don't.
I don't think you can have those beliefs.
That's very true. Very true. Right. Friend of the
sorry, I have to say, as the guy said on the show, we've seen the world. We've seen it from outer space.
It can be faked.
No, we haven't.
Yeah. Nobody walked on the moon. You have to remember this. It was fake.
Dear, oh dear. Okay. What else we got?
Now, friend of the show, Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep.
He's in town this week.
Oh.
Because it's the Grand Prix.
Grand Prix is coming up.
Now, Lewis Hamilton, former world champion, he's insisting that there is no way he will be taking any part of the disgusting shoey celebration made famous by our man 365 Days of Sport, very own Daniel Ricciardo.
First of all, the arrogance of assuming he's going to win is the first problem there.
True, yeah.
Come on. Well, what's the problem with the shoe?
He goes on to say, he says, there's no racing achievement that will get me to do a shoey. That is disgusting. I wouldn't even drink sweat from my own shoe.
So it is from your own shoe. It's not. Daniel doesn't give him his shoe.
These guys make millions. They just buy a new shoe.
Okay.
It'd be clean then, wouldn't it? But anyway,
they could do that.
Says we've got
sponsorship.
Exactly. The Puma shoey. You could just have a special edition.
Money to be made.
So Hamilton goes on to say, we've got these hydraulic fluids going down there. They're running at 300 degrees or something crazy, so it's bleeding hot. My dad would call it toe jam. He's just drinking toe jam.
Well, I think it's a bit. He's a bit of the upper echelon. He's a bit poncy.
Yeah.
He's a bit sort of up his own backside, I think, from what I can gather from that.
But
what's he ever done anyway, Lewis Hamilton? What's he ever done?
A couple of world championships.
Well, whatevs, It's just motor racing.
So, but Hamilton goes on. He goes, it's kind of cool that Ricciardo has got his own little thing, and I admire him for having his own little thing. It is totally cool if he wants to drink the sweat off his own foot, but I definitely don't want to.
Well, he's drawn a line in the sand. He's made a stand for, I don't know, who's he representing? Just himself, really.
Of course
he's anti the people. The mob definitely want to see rankness. They want to see filthy champagne.
Well, Australians do.
Particularly here in Australia, yeah. He's lost Australia altogether.
Yeah, indeed.
Dear, oh dear, devastating. Right, well, is that all the world's news for this?
Well, we've got to wish 365 Days of Sport's very own Daniel Ricciardo best of luck in the Grand Prix in the weekend. Because
is he stopping by next week for a chat?
I don't see why not. Yeah. But it's not as if he's doing anything else, is it?
We've got a high caliber guest this week. What's going on? Is that coming up later, or have we got some more
actually,
stuff for
we
us?
do have a high caliber guest, and it does relate to this story, actually, because this week in Melbourne, big news, an Aussie Rules player, even though we shouldn't talk about Aussie Rules on this show, he allegedly threw a toy for his dog, and in the follow-through, smashed his hand on a door. A door handle.
I have heard the story.
This is what he said.
Yep.
He actually broke his hand.
What sort of dog does he have?
Nobody's even sure whether he's got a dog.
They didn't go into that sort of depth.
So he went to the club, Collingwood, Magpies, went to the club, told him he broke his hand by hitting his hand on a door handle, throwing a toy for a dog.
Yeah. Is that what happened?
Well, allegedly not. Okay. So apparently, after training and on his way home, he got the guilt trip, and he rang the boss of the club and said, I can't handle the truth. Another one.
Yeah. This is the running theme already.
I can't handle the truth.
People can't handle. Just told him it should be a given that people tell the truth. We should not,
And he actually told them the truth that he got into a fight in a nightclub and broke his hand punching somebody's head.
That's less embarrassing in a lot of ways, I would have thought.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
for a football player, yeah.
That's a task that it shows a bit of courage,
but
you
go on about this all the time. This is in your wheel.
Oh, it was massive news. It was ridiculous news. This a footy player broke his hand. That's the end of it. That's all. It doesn't matter how
fighting in a nightclub.
But why is it on the news?
Exactly, and he's 21 and he's out drinking.
It's absolutely mental. I have zero time for this. We'll talk some more footy later about some real footy news that's worth mentioning and applauding from where I'm standing.
Good.
We'll get to that later. And speaking of Collingwood, though,
exactly,
we have a gentleman here who is a friend of mine from my days as a screenwriter at RMIT University. He's also a fine actor, recently in The Legend of Ben Hall with his giant ginger beard. It looks fantastic. And he's also the host of the Collingwood Walking footy tour, unofficial, not associated with the club. We'll talk about that too. And he's also the court announcer for the Melbourne Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gavin Ingham. How are we, Gavin?
Thank you very much, lads. Thank you very much for inviting me on. I overheard some of the conversation just outside, and I kind of am here. First thing I want to say is I just want to defend Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck with that.
Well,
what's your reasoning there?
Well, I'm not a flat earther, but... Well, it's just the same as I'm not racist, but so here we go. I'm a shacker.
Do you feel if we say something bad about that argument that we're being racist? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, just in the same way someone who says I'm not racist, but it's probably going to...
Sure.
So I'm not a flat earther, but I'm a shacker.
Well, if you were to question Shaquille O'Neal, do you think he would say, "Oh, you're racist"?
Not me personally.
Not you, because you're for him.
Well,
so is that to say that no matter what he says, you're in behind it?
Well, it's not so much what he says, just whatever he says, I would agree with. And there's some.
Is that the definition of a shacker?
Yeah. You have to believe in Shaq,
right.
the power of Shaq.
The power of the
but
Shaq.
The fact he is over 7 foot tall, he's tall enough to kind of get a gauge, more than I am at 5'8". He's tall enough to get the trajectory of the Earth's.
He can see the curvature.
Curvature.
Yeah.
I think you could bring it to the man on the moon as well, landing on the moon, because he's at his minimum playing weight. He was over 300 pounds. So him, anywhere he goes, he would crush. So I think in his mind, he would think, no one could go on the moon.
Sure.
I can't go on the moon. I'd kill it. I'd break all the cheese.
He'd probably eat the cheese.
Okay, well, it's on record, people. Gavin is a shacker.
Thank you. Yes, that's
dear.
true.
Are you the only one in the group? Is there anyone else involved? Or?
Oh, I think he's in it.
Okay, so that's just is this sort of a way that you're going to try and get to meet him, do you think, or what's going on there?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you found a loophole, you think?
Shaq, if you're listening, hook us up. I'll show you around Melbourne. you and Kyrie. But seriously, it was interesting. That came out when Kyrie, back in sort of mid-February, the All-Star game, Kyrie Irving came out and said about it. And it was interesting. It went over the weekend and he kept getting pressed. And then eventually he sort of said that, well, whether it's true or not, I'm not too sure. But isn't it interesting that you guys have picked that up when there's some other real-world issues going on in the world? And the fact that a sports star says the world's flat, that turns out to be the biggest news story.
Make this very clear to everyone listening. The world is not flat. It's not. I think we're going to be moving on to everyone's favourite segment.
Everyone's favourite segment.
Favourite segment. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Greatest sporting benders, I'm just living the dream, man.
All right, greatest sporting benders.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, living the dream. Beefy, have you got something special for us?
Kind of. A man close to my heart.
I see.
Andrew Freddie Flintoff.
Oh, old Freddie Flintoff.
Probably.
I did actually have a read of some of his stuff the other week in research. He's done all right.
Rugby league aside, there's not that many people in the last kind of 10 years that have kind of been out there regularly on benders as much as Freddie. He is the last bastion of...
In cricket, you're talking about?
Well, generally in cricket. But even professional sport, really.
Well, around that time, Andrew Simons was around that time.
Yeah, but
he had a bit of a blowout.
Yeah, he did.
No one's really... I was surprised. I read a story, Matthew Hayden, talking about Adam Gilchrist, of all people.
Really?
Giving a bit of a nudge, but not disgracing himself.
Yeah, well...
But it was during the World Cup.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned disgracing yourself in the World Cup, because obviously the first story is 2007 World Cup, Caribbean, St. Lucia. England, on their opening game, had lost to your boys, the Black Caps.
Yes. I think we reached the semi-finals for a change.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
2007?
We love the
So anyway, so the English boys are out drinking in Rumours Bar, and as always, Freddie, last one to leave. Now, as he left the bar, there were boats in the harbour, and Freddie believed that my hero, Beefy, Botham, was on one of these boats.
That's right. This is ringing a bell now. Yes, right. And
So-
what was the solution to this
So
problem?
he got this idea he was going to join Botham for a late night drink,
Right.
but he couldn't swim. So he tried to grab a kayak.
He couldn't swim because he was too munted?
No,
or
he
just can't swim?
He just can't swim. So he tried to grab a kayak, but he couldn't find the oars. So he found a pedalo, one of these pedal boats.
Yep.
So he dragged that out. So
It's very resourcewell.
yeah, don't forget this is like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
So he's
and
trying to
it's
get
the
this
ocean.
pedalo out,
Yeah.
and he's by himself. And normally in pedalos you need 2 people. So he's tried to turn it, and he's capsized it. He's crashed it and capsized it. Can't swim, and he's pissed.
Right, he's in a bit of trouble then. I
He's in a little bit of trouble.
There's a few factors going against him.
Yeah. Basically, he's woken up next morning. He was on his bed. He was still wet through, and he was sand from the knees down. Can't remember a thing.
He obviously didn't find Beefy.
He didn't find
Beefy
Beefy.
Botham?
He didn't remember anything about this whole episode. The first thing he heard was a knock at the door, which he thought was the maid. So he said to the maid, "Oh, can you come back later?" And it was Duncan Fletcher, the England coach, saying, "I really do need you to come out now, team meeting." So it turns out that the hotel staff had rescued him from the sea.
He really did, in terms of drowning your sorrows after a loss.
Yeah.
He took that to a whole new
A
level.
loss to New Zealand does that to you. So
Okay, easy.
So-
how'd you go in the last World Cup, England? How'd you go? Oh, didn't even make the round robin.
No, that's
sorry, the semi-final.
So Paul Nixon takes up the story because he was the last one into this team meeting. He says, as I walked into the team room, I noticed a bunch of chairs arranged in a horseshoe shape with all the players on them. There was a flip chart set up at the head of the room. In the corner, splayed out on his back on a physio's bench, was Andrew Flintoff. The big man looked barely conscious. He was wearing a vest and shorts, and his lower legs were covered in sand. There was a pervading smell of Jack Daniels and cola in the air. A few of the lads glanced at Freddie and winced.
Oh.
Freddie, meanwhile, remained flat out during the whole dressing down, occasionally lifting his head with one eye half open. Later at another meeting, Freddie, now upright, apologised for his behaviour. Flintoff was fined, banned for the next match, and stripped to the vice-captaincy.
Oh, gosh. What's the with the English? They, of all people, were the most tolerant of a bit of a boozy blowout. It's so ingrained.
Is that enough of a punishment?
Do you recall this incident, Gav? And do you recall it?
I'm not a cricket aficionado, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
Many moons before, yes. But Australia's gone through a bit of a lull recent years, so the passion for cricket as an Australian has waned. Fair weather.
The thing is, it made him more of a legend in the end in Britain.
Absolutely.
And around the world.
Well, the thing is, it's how you come back from the bender.
Yeah.
And he came back highly successfully.
He did. That's right.
And that changes the whole vibe of it. It's like well done.
But this next story kind of sums him up a little bit.
Oh, right.
So Flintoff
get worse.
Flintoff revealed that he was once run out whilst batting for England in a Test match because he could only hop due to the effects of Viagra. It started with an article my ex sold to the News of the World. It wasn't very complimentary about my performances, if you get my meaning. So I decided I had to put that myth to bed, even though I was in the middle of a Test match. I took 3 Viagra one night and didn't realise how long they lasted. Trying to bat the next day in that state was not easy. I was run out simply because I couldn't move. I could only hop. It wasn't worth it either. Complete waste of time.
Well, you wouldn't really be able to stand up straight at the crease, would you?
But the thing, you certainly wouldn't, and that's the thing that surprised me about that is that obviously with these sporting benders there's a bit of drug taking going on. That is not a drug of choice that I would have at the top of my list for a pleasurable experience, or at least it's finite for the pleasure of it, and if it carries on after what it's intended for, things could result in exactly what's happened there. Why did he take 3?
It's definitely a new
Would you
twist.
not start with 1 then try and figure out? I mean, he's only 28 at the time or something.
I
wouldn't need that.
We don't know the man's backstory.
So what do you got for us, Rob? What's your great
I have to be
bender?
honest, I haven't prepared for this one so well, but it's been all over the news. I know we're not supposed to talk about football on this show, but the West Coast Eagles, I've done a bit of a West Coast Eagles double feature this week.
Oh, nice.
And if this doesn't qualify for greatest sporting benders, I don't know what does. I mean, this is... You talked about the Arsenal lads. I think this destroys it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
This is a good 5-year stint. Ben Cousins, of course, leading the charge. All variety of... it says here they indulged cocaine, speed, ice, ecstasy, and marijuana were abused by the players. No mention of alcohol.
Yeah. No time for alcohol.
I mean, that's a real focused effort. They're just really... I mean, there has to be some sort of social aspect, you would have thought. They're obviously, I mean, I don't know how that works. You're just sort of standing around having a chat and everyone's just got drugs. You need something to wash it down. But this is just sort of an overall commentary. So on the main 3rd page in here in the Herald Sun, and it's got a...
You're actually reading this out of the Herald Sun.
I had to go... Well, actually, I had to go old school. This is actually yesterday's newspaper too. I asked them if they had it at the cafe.
You gave money to the
Vietnamese roll.
You gave money to the Herald Sun. So
I actually took it for free from the cafe.
Oh, good.
Nice.
It was yesterday's. But it's got all 18 players in their premiership photo here. Each one of them has a little sort of speaker bubble jutting out from their head. And it's a commentary on something bad which they've done. And 14 of the 18 players have copped a bit of a hiding here.
Is it in the words of that player?
Well, it's not. No, it's not a direct quote from them. It's not them describing their own blowout. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
that would have been brilliant.
It's not in quotation marks. So, for example, Dean Cox. This is pretty minor. Drop the F word during presentation of winners' medals after grand final. It's not like he's saying, I dropped the F word in the presentation, the winners' medal. Yeah, it was awesome.
Is that literally what it says? His misdemeanor.
That's his misdemeanor. He's the F bomb
because he was off his face on whatever it was. But at the end of that 2006 season, they won the Premiership, didn't they? The whole thing.
They certainly did.
Then they went to Vegas for an end of season blowout, and didn't one of the guys actually die? And they covered it.
And they
covered it up.
back to he flatlined on the table.
Yeah.
They brought him back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
But he
was that-
was physically dead.
Which one?
Chad
was that?
somebody? I
Chad
think.
Fletcher? Chad Fletcher collapsed in Vegas during the
There you
end-of-season trip, allegedly flatlining and needed 4 days treatment in hospital. Denied his collapse was due to excessive use of alcohol and illicit drugs, but William Gillard concluded he had taken drugs.
Yeah,
I think he'd
because
taken the lot.
They'd actually found that he had 0 alcohol in his system.
Right. Well, so that's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
There was no alcohol involved.
No.
The paper's exactly correct.
Well, I think the sad thing is the West Coast Eagles have flatlined ever since. I think that's the
They were in
sense
the
of
final
sport.
2 years ago. But the thing about this is that I did a rant the other week about how these guys aren't, sportsmen are not role models. That was exactly Ben Cousins' attitude as he cheered the boys on as to get involved in this. He was saying, look, people think we're role models. We're not. What we're doing in our own time is up to us. It's behind closed doors. We're out. We want to party. We want to do it.
You talk about...
And they all jumped right on board by the looks and said, Ben Cousins is dead right. And not only are we going to embrace that attitude, we're going to win a premiership too. And anyone who's going to say that these drugs are performance enhancing...
Oh, they weren't.
They are not.
No.
They definitely are not. This is almost the biggest achievement in AFL history to get that wasted on such a regular basis and come back and win a final. Applause, people.
Yep.
Applause. That's against the odds. If ever.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's Leicester City-ish.
Even Barry Hall was jumping on board today, saying, because I think they lost in the final, didn't they, Sydney, that year, and saying that, it's a disgrace, they should be banned from the game. I want my premiership medal, for these boys and all that sort of stuff. Barry Hall was the guy that knocked out one of the West Coast players.
Brent Staker?
Can't remember. Did he knock
These
him
guys
out
were
or-
only really harming themselves.
Well, in all fairness to Barry Hall, the player was halfway there based on this Herald of Sun
That's
report.
right.
He probably was on pingers.
Yeah.
Blazing. But probably the only thing that does tarnish things a bit is that Ben Cousins has proceeded to ruin his entire life and his family's. So that's a bit of a downer on the comedy side.
I heard a story today when Ben Cousins signed for Richmond. They got him in an interview and they asked him straight up. It says, and first thing they said to Ben, if you lied to us, this is the end of your career. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So the first question they asked Ben Cousins was, when was the last time you used any illicit drugs?
Yeah.
And he went, this morning. And they still signed him.
Here we are, laughing at a genuine addict.
We're laughing with him.
Yes.
Well, crikey, he certainly did it properly.
Loved it.
Oh dear.
Just about to go to jail.
Well, the good thing is he wasn't taking it at the time.
Not at the time, yes.
In the interview.
Actually, I don't think he had a speech bubble off the photo. He might have scraped through.
He was, wasn't he man of the match that day?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, he's up there with Judd, and I don't know.
far
I
off
don't know
most
what the
games.
stats were.
Most games he played, he wouldn't have been far off.
No.
He would have been the safe 30 possessions, cheeky punt on thing.
The new Facebook page is now set up.
It is.
And if you've got any suggestions, just
365
days of
radio
sport
show.
radio.
We love it.
Doing
All
good
right.
things.
Well, worst song in the world. Here we go.
So he played the first song that came to his head. It just so happened to be, it was the worst song in the world. It was the worst song in the world. Listen to the song and it's clear you're wrong, because the words don't fit and the song is shit. You're a talentless kid. You suck!
Worst song in the world.
Worst song in the world. And what have we got this week, Beefy? We've been going with football chants, and we've had the Calgary Flames.
Calgary Flames
Terrible
ice hockey.
song that was.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And this week,
I thought about this for a while, and it just came to me in an instant. And I'm thinking, sports stars that have done songs. And then I remembered that the New South Wales cricketers formed a band.
Oh, yes.
Brett Lee, Shane Lee, Richard Cheekwee, Gavin Robertson, and Brad McNamara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
6 and out.
6 and out. Should we crank it? Right.
I was trying out for the high school cricket team.
Great lyrics. Great lyrics.
Great start.
Factual.
Dream one day I'd be wearing that baggy green.
It rhymes.
Right, yeah. Dumpy noted.
All I got when we were done, the coach called me over and said, sorry, son.
Influenced by Paul Kelly.
Can't bowl and
Oh, yes. Can't throw. Yeah, that's the one.
just telling you what everybody knows. Absolute sitters. You put it down. All the tail enders, you
and he can't throw. Love it. So Brett Lee playing guitar, singing.
Yeah, Brett Lee was Richard Cheekwee was the lead singer, but I think they all chimed in.
What era was this?
This was kind of late 90s, early 2000s. That's a good question, Gav. I don't know what year exactly it was. I can find out.
I remember something about this, because didn't Shane Warne pay out some cricket? Wasn't that about a certain cricketer?
Yes, Scott Muller. So Scott Muller, who was picked from absolute obscurity to play, played 2 tests when Australia went on that run when they won 16 or 17 matches in a row. Muller actually played 2 of these tests. Now, there was a fielding incident off Warney's bowling out to the boundary, and Muller has run around and launched the throw absolutely nowhere near either Warney or the wicketkeeper. And all of a sudden, a comment came across the stump mic, "Can't bowl, can't throw." Now, the story rolls on. It got picked up by the stump mic, but to cover up somebody's indiscretion, they blamed it on a boundary microphone that Joe, the cameraman, had said it in passing, even though it was picked up by the stump mic. So the ACB at the time did whatever they could to
pretty
protect.
much ended up ending his Test career, or in some regard, because he faded away completely.
Oh yeah, he
just from a song.
Would you say he was established though?
Dropped due to song.
I'm pretty sure that Warney had his say in selection and said, "Don't pick this fellow again." So that was that. But some of the lyrics in this song, it's just phenomenal. In the video, Shane Lee goes for an audition for Richie Benno's replacement. He says, "I went for an audition down at Channel 9. Richie's job, well, it was gonna be mine. They sent a message on the auto cue. Thanks for coming, and we'll call you. But you can't bowl, you can't throw. I'm just telling you what everybody knows. Don't ask Warney. It was cameraman Joe. He'll say you can't bowl and you can't throw."
Wow, there it goes. Well, that was
6 and out.
What happened to the cameraman? Did it end his career as well?
I think Joe's still actually working for Channel 9. Didn't do his career any harm. And in fact, it propelled him into the limelight.
I wanted to ask Brett Lee about his band one time. Back in about 2005, I went to a one-dayer in New Zealand, and it was the time when the Marshall twins were in the team I was friends with. Anyway, there's this bar called Spy Bar down the bottom of the Viaduct in Auckland, which is notorious for from 2 a.m. They only let in people who are very familiar with the bouncers or celebrities.
Which did you qualify as?
Well, this is the point. They didn't let me in. They never let me in. So I was always standing outside trying to get to some hot chicks at 2:30 in the morning, getting nowhere. And all of a sudden, about 9 of the Australian cricket team turned up outside the club. So I had Michael Clark, Gilchrist, Brett Lee, Andrew Simons, all of them. They're all there. And I sort of said, "Oh, great, I'll just chime with the Australian cricket team, no problem." And I was saying, "Yeah, sweet." And I jumped in the middle of this sort of huddle and just sort of chatting away. And the bouncer, this big Samoan guy, knew nothing about cricket. And he goes, "Sorry, too many guys." And we wouldn't let them in. And they're like global superstars. And then I was like, "Oh, don't worry, boys, I'll get you in somewhere else. Don't worry, come with me." And I said, like, yeah. And I remember Michael Clark going, "Mate, you better bloody well get us in somewhere, or you're going to be in big trouble." And I went around to this bar that I always go to, and they knew me and everything, and didn't let me in again.
I love it.
I just wanted to talk to Brett Lee about 6 and out. That's the only thing I had going to that point. And I was full-time
I love how
musician.
Clarkie is threatened. You're going to be in big trouble. What's he going to do? What's going to happen to you?
Well, in the end, Adam Gilchrist waved them back to the taxi van. They went back to the hotel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wrapped it up. Did the sensible thing. Gutted. Really was devastated.
Auckland, hey?
Well, we're doing worst song in the world.
Worst song in the world. You've got one. What was yours?
Got one. I said it's a West Coast Eagles theme for me. This.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm going to play their footy team song, basically, which is absolutely atrocious. It is one of the... and I'm going to explain why. When you listen, anyone from Melbourne will know that this is horrific. So this is when they got away from the old school bandstand arm swinging ones and went to like 80s rock. And
Angry
it
Anderson
does not stand the test of time. I've never heard this full intro though before.
It's brilliant.
They are flying high, we all know. Very high.
We're the Eagles, the West Coast Eagles, and we're here to show you why.
How's the mob gonna sing that?
We're Where the big birds, kings of the big game. Where the eagles, we're flying high.
Then comes rock time.
West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, you see, now that's the time. See, I'll tell you exactly what's happened here. The local footy club band, Mario and the Machines, have been commissioned to do the West Coast Eagles theme.
Yeah.
And I've gone and go, mate, boys, I've got some big news for you this week. Mate, we just, the whole West Coast Eagles footy club, they've just commissioned us to come and just do a new 46 song for the club. And mate, they already given me $5,000. I went out and bought a new Marshall stack and a new Ibanez guitar, and I've been wailing on some sick riffs. And I'll tell you what, we're going to write a song around this, and we'll get the royalties on top of the front up fee. And mate, it's going to be big dollars for the band. We're going to go places, I'll tell you, big time. And they came up with that absolute shit. It's Mario and the Machines. Never listen to Mario and the Machines or hire them to do anything, because you'll get the worst footy song of all time. Disastrous.
Have we got any other stuff from Mario and the Machines? Just
well,
to
considering they're a fictional band and I made them up, you might not be able to hear too much about them. But
because
that's short and sweet. Because I love the old bandstand swinging ones. I mean, they have the only one, the modern one, which they've gotten right, which I really do like, is the GWS one. Very, very good.
Absolutely.
See? This is only 3 years old.
A Russian polka.
It's got, and it's also got a bit of Darth Vader Star Wars march about it.
That's very true. The Imperial Death March.
That's how you do a footy song. Well, anyway. It's got drama. You don't muck around, see? It's brilliant. Apparently, Harry from the Cat Empire composed
that's true.
it.
Absolutely.
Well, we should talk about Gavin's Collingwood footy tour at this point, I think.
Are you sure you want to go into it?
Well, I definitely do want to go into it. How do you conduct yourself? Do you go into your act? Do you put on a bit of a display for the people? Do you dress up?
No, absolutely not. I don't dress up. It's a very serious endeavour. Just take some Collingwood supporters will call me, and I'll take them around to the local pubs, and we'll eat dim sims and talk about how many teeth we've got.
Right, and you just count them on one hand?
On one hand.
On one finger.
No, that's absolutely
I read
not
there's
true.
a painting at the Grace Darling Hotel saying that that's where the club formed, but I've heard you tell me that that's actually not true. Is that not true?
I joke about
Grace
Collingwood
Darling and
supporters.
Collingwood,
if any Collingwood supporters out there, send my love, and I can make that joke. You can make jokes about people in your family, but anyone else does, it's atrocious.
Okay.
The Grace Darling was associated with the club, original days with the feeder team, not so much the official Collingwood football club. On the tour, I take people to the actual pub and show them where it is. And thanks very much, Rob, for the little song popping up there. But no, there was certainly historical significance, the Grace Darling Hotel, and certainly as far as Collingwood, the town is, the suburb. But it's not the official pub that the Collingwood Football Club was formed at.
What is?
Well, you'd have to come on a tour. It's located
privileged
on
information.
And the way to come on that is jump on the website collingwoodfootytour.com. Cha-ching. But no, the Grace
Facebook page too. Is it on Facebook?
Oh, absolutely all over Facebook.
You want Gavin Ingham, a surname famous for other things than chicken.
Yeah, I'm not related to the chicken family. Thanks for reminding me, Rob. That's
you're not.
No, absolutely.
I like the chicken's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I've been roasting chickens again lately. I don't buy them from the supermarket.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah. Live chickens? Just live or not?
Well,
is this something you want to tell?
That's being silly.
Yeah.
I'm talking seriously about my Sunday roast. It's important to me, and you tell me I'm killing live chickens. Do you think I'm a man who has time for that sort of thing? Anyway, back to the tour.
Yeah.
It's not let's not lose focus here. Do you have like
groupies?
Do you have gags?
Ooh.
I have plenty of gags, but again, it's funny. I can sort of make these jokes about Collingwood supporters to Collingwood supporters because I'm part of the tribe.
Sure.
One of the things I do on the tour is arm Collingwood supporters with information about other clubs. But it's quite an interesting part of the tribal factor. Of,
what sort of place was Australia back in there? When was the Essendon founded? How's that for a question?
I don't know. I don't really care. Well, I don't know. It's before Collingwood. Collingwood was 1892. Essendon won the first flag of the VFL in 1897. Collingwood was 1896. So I don't know, but it was before then. A lot of teams were established before modern infrastructure of their town or the suburb.
Collingwood was always seen as the club of the working men. And that's
true.
why they used to have Collingwood v Melbourne. They still have it because it's the rich people
Absolutely.
versus the poor people, basically. Is that where it came from?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right,
There's a whole lot of poor slum teams. Rich, the
Well, that's
Richmonds.
what Collingwood is all the industrial area here in the northern suburbs of Melbourne and all these old factories where there used to be workers.
And if you go to Abbotsford now and Collingwood, a lot of that suburban area is old factories that have been turned into domestic dwellings. But
Fairly lovely ones too. Well out of my price range, often.
Oh, absolutely. That's actually how Collingwood was started. That the Smith Street, if you come down towards Collingwood from Smith Street, it comes down on a hill. And so all the piss and the shit of Melbourne, this is actually before before drainage and all this sort of stuff.
Sewerage, is that what you mean? You're
Yep.
referring to?
We used to come down the hill and just coagulate in the area of Abbotsford where Collingwood was founded.
Right. And that would that waft into Victoria Park there and just sort of lap it up?
Before Victoria Park, basically where Victoria Park is now. So you had the smell of industry, you had the smell of urine, horse urine and animal, and all sorts of animal urine,
Right.
human urine.
Real concoction there.
Absolutely. So that's why Collingwood people have a chip on their shoulder.
I see.
And that's why Collingwood, the club, was invented to give hope to the local people. Especially through the Depression and the early parts of the 19th century.
Is this what you had in mind, Beefy, when you wouldn't want to talk about football, this sort of conversation? Is this what you're on about?
Yeah, I'm just looking at porn now on my phone.
Victoria Park. I played in Victoria Park.
Playing what?
I played for Australian rules football.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I played for the Birmingham Lions.
Yep.
When I played a season and a half, centre half back.
Oh, that's right.
I laid the best tackle of my life playing AFL.
I've heard this story before,
Absolutely,
but would you indulge me again?
No,
please?
I don't think so. We're carrying on too long with me in the next segment soon,
okay, sure.
unfortunately. But and I also Victoria Park on the Pacific. That's where all the soldiers stayed, and they're filming
Yes.
World War II soldiers, but before they went to Guadalcanal. Well, they just come back. I can't remember.
No. During one season around the 40s, World War II, they shut down. Victoria Park wasn't used for football, but it was used. The military took it over, and
They're a very hospitable park.
absolutely very hospitable people, the Collingwood people.
Well, a lot of interesting facts there from Collingwood.
Really,
and,
facts?
Facts. We love facts.
That leads nicely into...
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. There's a time you gotta go and show you grow, and now you know about the facts of life.
Facts of life,
Facts
indeed.
of life.
So,
what have we got? So we've
we
had
kind
a
of-
progression of the facts of life.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the first thing, facts of life, we just talk about sport you don't really see in Australia or too much about. So this time last year, we were on the Austrian-German border.
Oh, that was that mental speedway on the ice.
Ice Speedway.
Ice Speedway.
If you've not seen Ice Speedway, it's just crazy.
This is you have to be. This is a classic one. Did I give this a Rambo 2 rating? I must have done.
Oh, it's got to be up there. Got to be up there.
You go.
Anyway, so Ice Speedway. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It is speedway, 4 bikes racing around a 400-metre circuit on ice.
Yeah.
There are 45-millimetre long spikes bolted to the tyres. They go around the corners by leaning over, basically flat, and going around this ice circuit. If you fall off and get run over by these tyres with these spikes on, there's about 200 spikes on these tyres, you're going to get hurt.
It's not going to work out well.
No.
And
in fact, at the end of the night, when we saw that, we were doing a bit of an interview on the track, weren't we? And these two blokes came up to us.
Very drunk.
Very, very drunk. They're Germans. I can't remember what the phrase was. Once you've been to Inzel, you are from Inzel, or something along those lines. It was craziness. Anyway,
very creative. Yeah.
so one of the guys was telling us, and we said, "Oh, have you seen many crashes and stuff like that?" He said, "Yeah, we saw a couple of years ago. A bike came out of the final turn, and 2 bikes came together, and the spikes went down one guy's leg, and the whole of the straight, and the straight's about 120 meters long." It was just a stream of blood all down the street, and he said it was horrific, and that's the worst they've seen.
They actually said it was great.
Yeah, well, they did. Yeah,
that's what they turned up for. All of these speedway stuff, people just want to see crashes. They want to see humans getting maimed.
No, but this is Mad Max beyond Freezer Dome. This is insane.
I love that.
You're completely crazy.
Beyond the Freezer
See, this
Dome.
is putting the West Coast Eagles in perspective now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that crazy.
Oh, different ice.
This is actually intentional.
Different ice we're talking about here.
Yeah, ice has come up quite a lot today. So Ice Speedway, just crazy. And you actually got on the inside of the track, didn't you?
I did get on the inside of the track. That's right. I remember. I forgot about that. I I was worried about falling over on the ice actually and not being able to get up, and they'd start the race and I'd get flattened.
Yeah, and
but
spiked.
I just managed to get across to the. I remember what happened. There was something went wrong there where. Oh, that's right. It was a €25 deposit to have your
to get the bib.
The bib. That's right. And of course, reckon I got €25 after travelling for 5.5 months. Are you kidding me?
/ life insurance.
Yeah, no way in the world.
Is that to get
and
off?
so I madly was running around because I only had a small 15-minute window to get into the middle of the track to try and get some footage. I haven't even seen any of that footage.
Have you?
No,
I haven't.
Why,
Really.
why do they charge €25?
It was
to
a
get on the
deposit, so they
ice?
give it back to you when you... Or it might have even been €5.
That's how poor we were at the time. We had nothing.
They didn't take FPOS.
Although
that wouldn't have worked either.
They should have charged 1,000. It's free to get on, but it's €1,000 to get off.
Get off, yeah. So ice speedway, and the top speed of these bikes, they're 500cc bikes. There's no brakes, even though they're going around this ice circuit. And they get up to about 70 mile an hour, probably. That's about 120 110 kilometers an hour.
Right.
And these guys, they're Russians. Most of them are Russians. They're just crazy.
Of course, they're going very fast.
But we went to an indoor circuit. They do ice speedway outside. And if you ever see it on TV, ice speedway, and they do it in like when it's minus 20, the crowd are standing there, and it's just
they're well wrapped up, aren't they?
Well wrapped up, yeah. But we were lucky. We got indoor.
What was I remember just trying to take pictures of the lovely looking lake outside. I remember we had a bratwurst sausage and chips for lunch. I think
we did. We had a breakfast in Inzel, didn't we?
I think.
There was
where had we come from to get there?
It was just after Easter, wasn't it? So probably the UK.
Yeah.
So after we got to the quarter final of the World
Marbles. So just before we went to Phoenix and Austin and everything.
Probably.
Yeah, right. Can't even remember.
Yeah.
So how often would there be a crash on the ice field?
There was only 2, I think.
There was only 2. I've seen meetings where there's been a few, but
in the one event too.
Yeah.
And what do they do with the blood that's on the track? Let it soak.
Smear it in.
Pour water over the top and let it freeze.
Get a mop.
Pink
get a
ice.
mop.
Yeah.
Why is that ice pink?
They make a nice sort of arty ice pattern.
Yeah.
Sort of just to make people feel
there were quite a few. There was a few crashes, but solo crashes, not bikes coming together.
No big.
They have hay bales down the outside.
Yeah.
But 10,000 people in the stadium sold out.
It's a good effort.
Yeah.
But that's right. Yeah, I just basically remember it was just being nuts and just saying that that's another thing I'll never ever do in my entire life.
Yeah, no, it's it's one of those sports it's very difficult to actually get to. You have to. It's very few meetings nowadays.
What's the most horrific injury you've seen in sport, if you think about it, Gavin?
Oh, basketball. A couple of years ago, Paul George from the Indiana Pacers had a fast break, went up for the dunk, he hung onto the ring. So a little bit too long, so the bottom half of his body swung through. He let go of the ring. It was fairly stock standard, didn't look too bad. When he landed, his both feet stayed still, one knee bent, and he was fine. His other bottom part of his leg didn't bend and then just snapped.
Why did I ask that?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because we're talking about, I was trying to throw from our horrific thing to something he might have seen relevant to.
Sorry. I was still thinking Mad Max. I was thinking, well, you said horrific injury. All right, no, I've got nothing.
Good.
No, good. Sorry.
Being a former elite sportsman myself, I just can't bear to think about horrific injuries like that. I have to.
They're not very funny.
I look away.
Yeah, they're not made for great comedy on the show.
No.
Good. Well, the great facts of life this week from Beefy.
Ice Speedway.
We're looking forward to when we inject how to become a world champion.
We're going to bring a new segment in. So you want to be a world champion? I'm going to give you some advice.
Yeah.
So Rob got to the quarterfinals of the World Egg Jabbing Championships.
Was this while you guys were overseas last year? The egg what?
Egg jarping.
Yes.
Okay.
So what it is there's a whole lot of boiled eggs in this certain pub in Durham County. Was that where
County
it was?
Durham, yeah.
County Durham.
Peter Lee.
Wrong way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I went to this ratty little pub. Like it was the
Heart of Oak.
Yeah. But I think the Guinness was only about £3 a can. So if
probably
even
cheaper
probably
than that,
two.
I think,
it was really good. And so I got a bit stuck into that. But they have a whole bunch of boiled eggs. It's Easter times of the egg thing.
Sure.
And you choose your egg and you go up and you hold it. And someone tries to crack your egg. If your egg cracks and theirs is still intact, they win. Obviously, if it's the opposite, then you win. And I got the quarterfinals. I got severely embarrassed.
Is it quite violent? Does it turn violent?
No.
It's
it
just,
can do after a couple of pints, though.
You got to be quite calculated about hitting the things.
Oh, you use your egg to crack
someone else's egg.
So is there a risk that you use your egg, crack someone else's egg, and you crack your own egg?
Yeah, and it's a double out. You're both out.
Oh.
Yeah, ruthless. Yeah. So if you're the next one in line, you're straight through the next round. So,
no, it was.
Yeah.
So what was your tactic? You just stayed on the side.
Well,
and just
initially
dodged
I went for the hold because you flip a coin to see if you're going to hold or you're going to crack. You only get one go,
and you can't cover the egg with your hand.
And well, you can cover it up to a point. You got to have at least sort of 40% of it showing.
Crackable.
Yeah. So generally people go for the hold, and I went for the hold first up and won, and then I think I drew two opposites, and I had to hit twice in a row and won both times, and I was like, whoa. And the second one,
hat-trick.
I had an exact plan what I was going to do and nailed it. It's like, bang,
hat-trick.
Smashed it. And so then quarterfinals came round, and I won the toss and said, I'm going to hit again. I reckon I got this figured out.
Too cocky.
And the guy did this bullshit. You know when he went to do the good luck handshake beforehand? And I went to shake his hand and did the pull away, brush his hair back.
Did the crowd
the whole pub goes, oh!
He looked like, if you know about anything about boxing, Tyson Fury, who was the world champion, he looked like this gypsy boxer.
See,
Rob he had his Michael Hutchins look on at the time. They all thought Rob was a Michael Hutchins.
Wait, which Michael Hutchins?
The dead one.
Well, you would.
I had long curly hair at the time, and I was Australian. That's all they need.
No wonder you lost.
Yeah,
you were Australian. You claimed to be Australian.
They assumed with my accent, they thought I was Australian straight away.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. In Australia, I sound like a New Zealander. In New Zealand, they think I'm Australian.
Yeah,
and here
I'm
you
caught
sound
in the middle. Amazing, talented, intelligent.
So you ended up losing the final, semi-final,
quarterfinal. I knocked out, and I was
knocked out by the champion though.
No, he didn't win.
Didn't he?
No,
he
didn't.
He didn't. You're right. There was a little weedy guy.
He got knocked out.
Yeah, he lost the final.
I think I hurled some abuse at him as he got knocked out.
Yeah, but this guy's life has just gotten so much better because he knocked out the front man from In Excess.
because
and
up there,
or second, the guy from 365 Days of Sport. Yeah. The guy, the sidekick with the gags on the right.
Yes. So it was good fun up there in the.
Very good fun
in the heart of Oak.
We had a great time. Is there any it's Collingwood Football Club? So did you tell me then which pub it did?
No, I didn't.
You've got to wait. It's a teaser.
It's a teaser.
We're talking about pub sports. I want to know.
Well, it's had many different names, and it's kind of currently a Backpackers, so it changes its name every 6 weeks. So I actually don't know. I know where it is. I just don't know what it's called.
What it's going to be called. You don't know until you get there.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Is it in Collingwood though?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is in Collingwood.
But around about the time, the 1889 to 1892, when they formed the club, I'm sure Eddie Maguire was there, standing at the front, charging £10 to get in.
Have you ever met the Big Ed?
I have. I was at a bit of a function for the club, and they had all this memorabilia out. And I was looking at these old medals and these old records and these old fantastic historical relics from the past. And there was this big booming voice next to me. And I turned to the side. I thought, that's Eddie Maguire. And he was looking at this paraphernalia and going, oh, wow, to these ladies behind the counter. And they all knew each other. And without thinking, just as a smartass, I just said to him, if you break them, you'll have to pay for them. And he's just looked at me like as if that's half funny, but not really funny given who...
You can't say that to me.
Yeah, do you know who I am? Obviously. He laughed and walked off.
Who are you, little parasite? Yeah.
How many millionaire shows do you have?
Yeah, that's right.
How many football clubs are you president of?
Exactly.
Good luck with your walking tour, asshole.
Yeah.
I'll walk all over you.
There's talk of Eddie Maguire showing interest in the old 365 Days of Sport radio show.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, it's news to me.
I know. Just
made
me
it up?
just talking. Yeah.
Oh, right.
There was talk. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was the talk. The talk. So as you spoke it, you were creating history and gossip and rumours.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to sell as much paper as the West Coast Eagles. That sort of gossip, but it's worth a try. Well, it's been a fascinating chat. Thank you for chiming in with us, Gav, at the last minute. We are very, very grateful for your efforts.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with the acting and screenwriting. Go and see The Legend of Ben Hall. And see Gavin with his ginormous beard. It really is. It's a great look.
It's out. It's just hit JB Hi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Not the beard. The
you can buy your memorabilia beard.
Yeah. It doesn't come attached with your beard.
No. That comes in the director's special edition.
It's in the mix.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
There'll be a show bag at the show.
Is there a spin-off series? Just the life and times
of Gav's beard.
The Legend of Beard.
Yeah.
A beard with a man attached.
It's going to take a lot of VCA screenwriting ability to try and close that film.
Dang.
Thanks, Gav. And what do we got coming next week?
Ricardo, obviously.
Oh,
Daniel Ricciardo.
next week. Daniel Ricciardo, 365 Days of Sport.
Gosh,
Brilliant.
gosh,
Look
that's
forward to
insane.
it. Thank you, Gavin.
No worries.
Much appreciated. That's 365 Days of Sport. We'll see you next week.
It has been 365 days.